once again for the renegade master. Back 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 once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are getting back into Love Island season 6. Love Island. We are getting back into Love is Blind season 6 episode 8. So basically within this episode we see all the couples, each of the couples going to each other's homes and basically getting a view of how they live and what their personalities are like from their abodes. So you see Chelsea and Jimmy goes to Chelsea's place first, and of course Chelsea's roommate comes in, and Chelsea's roommate is a little bit on the light side. Jimmy didn't really like that at all. No, Jimmy said it would probably be a little bit too much him living there, especially with the roommate being there. So they went to Jimmy's place, which is a small studio apartment basically, and he said that it was too small for 2 people, but if Chelsea wanted to move in there or they moved in together, and basically when he conducts meetings for work, he was basically saying that she would have to go out for a walk or something like that. And I'm like, sometimes when these people talk, they laugh when they're saying stuff, but they're actually being serious when they're saying it. So I'm not sure why they're laughing for, because you actually will be expecting Chelsea to go for a walk whenever you conduct meetings all the time, go to a coffee shop or something like that. But Chelsea says she not mind. Basically she wants to move in and live there with Jimmy, basically she's saying, and because she doesn't feel that she'd be able to tell her roommate to kick rocks. And I thought at the end of the day, Jimmy's already done said that he ain't moving into your place, love, because he doesn't necessarily like your roommate. So then AD and Clay go to Clay's house. Clay's house is really nice, and it's all his. He's bought it himself. And he basically says that he likes the quietness of his home, but he wants someone there, is what he's saying. And he would like her to move in with him. So they talked about their shared interests in regards to the vision board. Now for me, I don't know if AD is just an easily pleased person, like seriously, because she makes these noises like she is ready to fall down at this man's feet every single time, giving him all these accolades, and this man don't even boost her in the slightest. Like, I've not seen him boost her in the slightest, except take every time she's giving him these accolades. So she's saying that she loves his style, she's impressed by it, but his home just needs a woman's touch, and she's glad that she don't see a woman's touch in there. She's saying that she could feel herself being there with him. And I'm just like, you know what? The conclusion that I've actually come to is AD is too accommodating. She's way too accommodating for this man, because this man literally doesn't have to work in order to please her with nothing. So you see Jeremy and Laura go to Jeremy's home. His home is pristine. Like, absolutely pristine. I had to question, does anybody live there? Is this a show home? What is it? Because not a thing was out of place. There wasn't a speck of dirt, speck of dust, no dirty nothing anywhere. Not like when we've seen previous Love is Blinds and people forget to flush the toilet or wash their shit out, or wash whatever they need to wash out, or there's clothes left on the bed, this, that and the other. Not like that. His house was pristine, and Laura was absolutely loving it, because basically she was saying that he would put her to shame in that regard. And she turned around and she said, oh, it was giving her quite serial killer vibes, but in a good way. How can it be in a good way? How can you say that someone's place, being as clean as Jeremy's was, gives you serial killer vibes, but in a good way? Nothing serial killer vibe is a good thing at all in the slightest. So he then shows her his CPAP machine. Oh my God, he looked like Lenny the fucking elephant. He was terrible. But it wasn't one of those, as he said, those ones that cover your face and make a god awful noise. So then we go to Kenneth's home with Brittany. That man had nothing in the fridge. And it's no wonder why he wanted Brittany to cook for him in the other episode, because I'm telling you, that man must finish school or go somewhere. Either he's constantly out with friends to go eat, or he's constantly at family members' home having some home cooked food. Because how can you have nothing, like absolutely nothing, not even a cooked food, that's nothing. I was like, okay. And he also had an air fryer that he'd never used before. What was the use in getting the air fryer? What was the use in getting an air fryer? So basically, Britney's talking about not knowing Kenny's body language, because when they were on the honeymoons, they had this deep and spiritual connection, but now his body language is kind of not in tune to Britney's at all. I said, because you've come back to reality, my love. You've come back to reality. And I think just before the honeymoons ended, Kenneth have kind of already switched off. Kenneth had already switched off in that scenario. He goes into these introverted moments, and she can tend to overanalyze. And again, to me, that's speaking of Britney being aware of how she feels in those moments and not trying to put it on to Kenneth, and probably hoping to give him that space when he goes into these introverted moments. But again, I would say from Kenneth's point of view, yes, you can have these introverted moments, but at the end of the day, you need to communicate this with the person that you're with. And that's the problem. None of these people who decide, I'm going to do this and shut down completely, literally do not communicate how they're feeling to the person that they're with, because this is the person that they chose to potentially marry. Like, seriously, it's like Kenneth has been one way and has come back after honeymoon a completely different person. He's just walked through this mist and changed completely. My thing is I notice a pattern where some of these men completely put the onus and responsibility of being happy on the woman that they're with. And Jimmy does it with Chelsea, ID does it with Clay, Jeremy does it with Laura to an extent, and Kenneth does it with Brittany. I've just noticed the absolute pattern wherein they want their women to believe that they're all into them and that, you know, things are good on their side, but they're not gonna know this if you don't communicate it with them. It gets back to Brittany and Kenneth, and again, that man's on his phone. Like, does he need it surgically removed from his hand? Constantly on his phone and just literally white noising out Brittany every time she talks. I'm kind of the thought that the women right now have to adapt with the men, and there is no in between. Like, seriously, no in between. So case in point, Kenneth is basically saying that he's excited that he's there, he's happy that they've moved in together, he's happy that they're going on this journey together. But Brittany's feeling a distance from when they were on that honeymoon, and he's basically saying that can't she give him no peace or no grace in that, because he can't basically be a big personality all the time. And this is what I mean. All of them expecting the woman to understand that and where they're coming from when they don't communicate that. This man is saying all half of this and majority of this while he's on his phone, like literally not giving her the grace to say, let me put my phone away and let us sit here and have this conversation properly so you know exactly where I'm at on this. No, he wants Brittany to take a step back, give him grace, because he can't be a big personality 100% of the time, and that's not what Brittany is even expecting from this man. But okay, Mr. Turnabout, turn around, put it on to Brittany. That's what he did in how he was speaking to her. Anyway, I still don't feel it for them because things have completely done a one. It moves to Chelsea and Jimmy, and Chelsea has got her friends round and basically has to tell them and warn them that Jimmy is upstairs working, but he won't be done until 5 p.m. So they sit in there praising their ring. And I was quite shocked at Chelsea actually talking about Trevor, actually saying that she loved Trevor. She never said it to Trevor, but she told her friends that she loved Trevor and that she was very much into him. But then she chose Jimmy. She told them about the fact that, you know, Trevor, as soon as Trevor put her at the number one, he was not dating anybody else. He just wanted her, like specifically wanted her. And I said, yeah, Trevor didn't date anyone else. All he beeline to was you. But you chose a man that was literally umming and ahhing between you and another woman that actually still wants that other woman, but only ran from her because that other woman set boundaries. In the way that Chelsea's speaking, it does kind of make me think, did you only say yes to Jimmy to stick it to Jessica, to say that you won over Jessica because you knew how beautiful Jessica was, and you, in your own insecurities, had a man that Jessica completely wanted? So And then in turn, that man said he wanted you. So that's why I'm thinking, putting two and two together, Chelsea probably went for Jimmy when she, in essence, she should have picked Trevor, yeah, to get the relationship that she actually did want with a man. But she only picked Jimmy because Jessica wanted him and she wanted to win out against Jessica. Her friends asked her, does Jimmy look how you thought he would look? And she went, hell no. She complained about the fact that Jimmy had not kissed her at all that day. And then she brought to light that Jimmy saw a picture of Jessica. And I was like, yeah, Chelsea, nah, that man wants Jessica. He saw a picture of Jessica now. He knows what Jessica looks like, and Jessica looks more like Megan Fox than you ever did. Jimmy now knows what he let go. And I was just like, EpiPen, anyone? Where is that EpiPen? So Jimmy comes down and joins her friends. Now, this is why I'm saying Chelsea needs to listen to the words that this man says, because they asked him what was the number one thing that made him fall in love with Chelsea. Do you think that man answered that question directly? Not a cat in house chance, did he not? So basically, he talked about the fact that he had two strong relationships in there, one being Chelsea, one being Jessica. So he, again, talking about the strong feelings that he had with Jessica, bearing in mind, he saw that woman's picture now, and Chelsea's not listening to this, was talking about the person that he had strongest feelings for, basically it ended poorly with, which was Jessica. And I said that only happened because Jessica put her boundaries in place. Jimmy did not tell them why it ended so poorly with Jessica. And the only reason why he then considered Chelsea and ran from Jessica back to Chelsea is because Jessica had ruled herself out of that situation. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to play. Jessica was like, you're not going to play me in my face. Like I've already said, you're not going to play me in my face. You're not going to go and tell one woman that you love them, but then you can't open your emotions and your heart to me. Bearing in mind that they were getting on like a house on fire. One, before Jessica's talked about her child, and then all the issues that came up after that. So he's basically saying all these words, not giving no context at all, not even saying that he actually loved Chelsea to her friends, and no one picked up on the fact that he didn't answer the damn question. He didn't answer the question. So Jimmy said she didn't leave me. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, no, just no. So he talks about the fact that they had one argument. No one questioned what the argument was about. He said that he will apologize, but she needs to understand where she's at when he does apologize. And I'm like, my guy, that's not how it works. That is not how it works, my guy. Seriously, my love. If you are apologizing, you should know what you're apologizing for. You can't then expect Chelsea to accommodate your need after you've apologized. That makes no utter sense. He turned around and said that Chelsea is his type. I'm like, why are you lying down? Why are you lying down? Chelsea was not your type. Jessica was more your type, my love. Those were the type of people that you went for when you were having relationships. So you say Chelsea is your type. Chelsea's out of your norm of what you normally go, of what Jimmy normally goes for. So this is how I know this man is bullshitting. This is how I know they're both bullshitting themselves. They're trying to find something in a bag of shit and it's not working. They're literally trying to make it look like they have this perfect relationship when they actually don't. They really, really don't. So then Amy and Johnny go to Amy's place. It is a nice little place. And Amy is a crystal girl and Johnny is not sure if he likes that Amy is a crystal girl because he's heard so many stories about crystal girls. If anybody knows the stories about these crystal girls, then please enlighten me because I don't know. I don't know, because I'm like, if you like crystals, you like crystals at the end of the day. People say they have different healing properties and this, that and the other, so that's why they use them in terms of their healing journey and spiritual journey and how it makes them feel. So I don't think that's a bad thing. So they're talking about the lifestyles that they both want to live, and Amy isn't a person that naturally lives frugally where Johnny will be in terms of the goals that he wants to achieve. So he's going to have to save money back, and he would want Amy to meet him on that level too, whereas she is a person where she basically wants to spend what she can, not necessarily go overboard, but spend what she can in order to have a good lifestyle, is what she's saying. And I think that I'm glad they're having these conversations now, because they need to know where they stand financially and where they're expecting things to go. Because Johnny, like myself, wants to retire early, and in order to do that, you have to save like a mofo in order to get the money in place where if you do retire, you've got something that you can consistently fall back on, and everything is going to be paid, and you have not got to worry about a damn thing. And that's where he wants Amy to be. In order to live frugally, yes, they have to save, but that doesn't mean they can't go and do little things here and there, but it just won't be all the time. So then they talk about the birth control in regards to that's going to be a big issue with them too in terms of figuring out, because Amy is saying that she does not want to be on birth control right now, but there is medical reasons as to why she doesn't necessarily want to be on birth control. So they were talking about if Amy had got pregnant accidentally, and basically saying that they would just have to make it work, they'd have a home, it would be big enough, da 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 da. Johnny doesn't want that at all. But at the end of the day, you can plan as much as you can in which to where you're going to have children. But if it's going to happen, it is going to happen. Now, they have a more possibility of it happening because nobody is on birth control or going to use birth control in what looks like in this scenario, because they haven't talked about any other options of birth control, just Amy being on it. So they know if they were to get, freaky deaky down in the sheets, there will be a possibility that she may get pregnant, and that's not something that neither one of them want at the moment. But it's going to come a time where they're going to have that discussion in order to fix it. So Amy highlights the fact that Johnny can have a vasectomy. Now, why would you have this man go have an operation, in order so you two can have sex so you don't get pregnant? That don't make no clear sense to me in the slightest. Yes, it can reverse itself at points, but sometimes you can go in and get it reversed, but other times it can just be there permanently. Why would you even, I don't understand why Amy would actually throw that into the air, like he can get a vasectomy, like it's that easy. It is kind of that easy to get a vasectomy, but still, why would you want him to have a procedure that, you know what, you've got no children at the moment, he's not had no children at the moment, so why would you want him to get that procedure? That, as again, makes no sense to me in the slightest. So then it moves to Brittany and Kenneth, and Brittany is actually having a go at Kenneth, basically saying that he came in at 1:30 a.m. and woke her up when she had to get up at 5 a.m. by switching all of the lights on, because apparently he'd been out all night. He'd been out all that day, all night. That's the time he came in. He wanted to say goodnight to Brittany, then couldn't understand why Brittany said that's not good enough in that sense. So he did not want her to hold that one part against him. And I'm like, Kenneth, you're not giving what's given. I think you're taking the piss here now. Like, you literally separated yourself and on your phone 24/7 with this while this woman's talking around you. You're literally going completely silent again while this woman's talking around you. Then you fucked off out because you wanted to go get your hair done. You wanted to go meet some friends. You wanted to do X, Y, and Z. Then you come back in the house at 1:30 in the morning and turn all the lights on with no misgivings to her being fast asleep to get up for work in the morning. But then you want Brittany to give you grace on that. I'm just like, yeah. I just don't get it. Kenneth just looks completely switched off from this whole situation. So basically, Brittany does highlight the fact that, she feels that there's a missing piece between them, that they're not craving for what should make a marriage work and what it looks like. And Kenneth responds with, that's you, not me. That's you. It's you that's craving. You can't put that on me. So I'm like, hold on a minute. Brittany is literally telling you where she feels within this relationship right now. And it's stemming from how Kenneth has made her feel within that relationship. She is feeling that there isn't a craving for him to support her or support them both in getting to a point of what marriage is supposed to look like for both of them, that in-between part. So basically, Kenneth has the audacity then to say to her, he's not going to force himself or push himself on her. So basically, he's trying to say that he tried to give her that affection, show her what he wanted, but she was batting him away. She didn't want that affection or anything like that. So he's not going to insist that she shows him this. But this is like 1:30 in the 1:30 in the morning, my guy. At 1:30 in the morning. Basically, he then starts to put it back on Brittany and say she's the one that is essentially not showing up for him. So he's starting to wonder, what is he going to get from her later on. So she's saying that they barely kiss, they haven't made out, and this is where Brittany starts to get emotional. And this man doesn't even give her a hug. This man does not validate her feelings. This man doesn't say to her, look, babe, let's sit and talk about this properly. I want to hear exactly what it is that you've got to say. Kenneth, to me, was literally on the defensive, like completely on the defensive. That man couldn't keep his nose out of his phone. I don't know what was so interesting in his phone. But since they talked in the pods, since they'd met, and the fact that he was quite attentive on the honeymoon, to coming to the end of that honeymoon, to coming into reality, there were step changes in regards to Kenny. So Brittany was trying to spell out to him that even with the promise of them being together or the promise of a marriage, she still wanted that desire, and that's why she was questioning what is the missing piece between them. So Kenny spelled out to her, to Brittany, basically saying to her that she wants the caliber of man that Kenneth is, but he can't give her X, Y, and Z. And that's the thing that's missing, but you can't base a marriage on that. So I'm like, okay, so with the speech that Kenneth is doing, he's done. He's not fighting for this relationship in any way, shape, or form. He's not willing to validate Brittany's feelings in any way, shape, or form, or what she's thinking about. Brittany's essentially talking to herself at this point. That's how I'm saying it. Brittany is talking to herself. She then gets very, very emotional. Again, there's no hug. There's no nothing from him in that sense. So he then wants her to be with the person that she is supposed to be with. So I was like, okay then. So I was right. It just wasn't working for them two in the slightest. So she's left sitting in the kitchen crying her heart out. He's basically phoned somebody and said to them that he's going to pack some stuff up and go out and be over at theirs. Now, I know there's this rumour mill going around and people have listened to the video and listened to that bit quite a few times, and it's kind of sounding like Kenneth has said babe to the person on the other end of that phone. So it could have been something more that was going on there, but we shall never know unless he decides to come out and tell the truth. Anyhow, we get to Chelsea and Jimmy, and basically this is after the friends have been, and he's saying that he likes her friends a lot, and you can always tell how a person is by the friends that they choose. So she was happy like that, and her friends liked Jimmy. Basically, she said that she was kind of worried about him at that point because she felt that he was in a kind of mood. So at this point, I'm just like, Chelsea is just nattering on and on and on and on and on, and Jimmy just looks at her. And that's the status quo with them two half the time. She will natter and Jimmy will just look at her half the time. And she was basically saying that he did not kiss her, he did not seek her out, he did not do anything all those times that they were in the house. He talks about how he wants to take care of her. And she's saying it's not about what he does financially in order to take care of her, what he buys, meals, stuff like that. She wants that emotional connection with him. Now, I'm sorry, to me, it was coming off a bit whiny. That's how it was when Chelsea was going on and on and on, like she did at the honeymoon. Yes, Jimmy did a wrong. Can't fault that there. Jimmy did do a wrong. But she comes off really whiny. And basically he said that he was working, but he did kiss her in certain parts. He kissed her on the cheek or he kissed her on the neck, and she was like, oh, okay. And Chelsea then brings up the fact that his behaviour has changed because she believes it's because he's in the picture of Jessica. Jimmy straight away tries to null and void that conversation and basically said at the end of the day he was having a conversation with Jeremy. Of course Jeremy would be involved in this because, I mean, come on, look at Jeremy and Sarah. Of course Jeremy would be involved in this. So basically it was Jeremy who brought up Jessica's Insta and showed Jimmy who Jessica was. So this is where I would say Chelsea's insecurities had come into play in that sense. So she is battling Jessica and Jessica ain't even there. So Jimmy's trying to reassure Chelsea and Chelsea says she is not getting no glimpse of him being a husband to her. And this is where I said again, I don't believe a word that Jimmy says. I really don't. Because all he has is excuses, like serious excuses. He doesn't actually get to the crux of the matter of what Chelsea is bringing out. He will literally gloss over the subject and try and maneuver himself out of that situation. So basically, it didn't go down too well and he called Chelsea clingy. That was not the choice of words that Chelsea really wanted to hear. It literally pissed her the hell off. And then she turned around and she says, well, seeing as you think I'm so clingy, maybe I should stay at my house tonight. She didn't mean that in the slightest. She did not mean that in the slightest. So again, Chelsea brings up the fact that he saw Jessica's photo and this is what made him change his behaviour. So they then talked about them having sex. And Jimmy says, yeah, well, I need a breather from that too. I was like, you know what? This man is too much. He's too much. He's too much. So at the end of that conversation, Jimmy decides that he's going to stay at his apartment to have some space. Again, where's the EpiPen? Like, seriously, again, where's the EpiPen? Because Jimmy is lying to himself if he did not feel a certain kind of way when he saw those photos of Jessica, which then in turn changed his behaviour towards Chelsea, or the change that she felt happened. I don't see it with them either. I really don't see it with them either. So then in the next breath, you see Jessica meet up with Laura. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay. So basically she's saying she took 2 days to herself and then she went home and let her daughter know that she was back home. So then basically she's saying that her daughter asked, are we getting married? And she basically told her daughter that she'd fell in love with someone, but they fell in love with someone else. And her daughter apparently asked her if that man was mad. I said, yes, my love. Jimmy ran scared from your mum. That's what happened. Jimmy ran scared. So the talk turns to Jimmy. Of course it would. Jessica's basically trying to find out how Chelsea and Jimmy are getting on, if they're in love with each other, because apparently it comes out that Jimmy sent Jessica a friend request on Instagram. She saw it, her eyes bugged out, she saw what he looked like. She'd been on his page already because his page was open, so she knew what he looked like. So Laura asked her the question, knowing what he looks like, does that change your view on him? And she went, no, of course it don't, because she put all her eggs in one basket for Jimmy. She is there for Jimmy. That's why she's backing at the shop, because she wants Jimmy. And she's going to make a play for this man, mark my words. She will make a play for this man, and Jimmy will open up them floodgates for Jessica to make a play for him. So she said that she left it 8 hours before she went back, and then she saw that he rescinded his friend request and then put himself on private. I'm like, you see that there? My man did not tell Chelsea that, you know what, I actually did friend request her on Instagram, but she didn't rescind my friendship, so I took it away and then put my whole profile on private. He didn't say any of that when she was saying that she believed he changed after he saw a picture of Jessica. It's a calamundo. So then it comes out from Laura that Sarah Ann had DM'd Jeremy. I don't know what it is in the water with these people. Doesn't an engagement mean anything to anybody nowadays? Like, seriously, I know it's just a show, but are these people really not taking this shit seriously? Now this girl jumps up out of the woodwork and decides to message Jeremy. Laura read out the text message. First thing I'm going to say is, I'm not sure how I feel about, you know, Laura taking a screenshot of his phone, because the way that Laura talked about it made it seem as though this message had come up while Jeremy was somewhere else and Laura had access to his phone, smart enough to take a screenshot of it on her phone and then keep it on her phone. So basically, as I said, she reads out the full text to Jessica, and it's the end bit. She said, "If there is ever a chance your mind shifting in your choice, I would love the opportunity to meet you regardless of whatever way you go." And I was like, my girl, Sarah Ann, really? And this is why I'm saying I agree with Laura when I say Jeremy did not shut that shit down. Jeremy has left a fucking window open somewhere for her to have all the audacity to message him something like that. Like, seriously, for her to have all the audacity. So basically, Laura's saying that he didn't message her back, but he love-hearted the comment. So Sarah Ann is very much aware that Jeremy would have seen the comment that she made. I'm just like, yeah. I'm just like, yeah, this is just gonna be a whole heap of palaver. This season is just gonna be a whole heap of palaver, and you know who's gonna concentrate on? All these motherfuckers that are coming in now to cause issues. It's gonna concentrate on a triangle between Laura, Jeremy, and Sarah Ann. It's gonna concentrate on a triangle between Jessica, Chelsea, and Jimmy. And who the fuck else? Who the fuck else is gonna like involve themselves? Because Kenneth and Brittany are gone. They're no more at the end of the day. I don't even think Clay and ID is gonna make it to the end, to be fair. To be absolutely fair. And Johnny and Amy, they're gonna have some type of rude awakening somewhere. But hey ho, that is where the episode ended. I'll be back in quick succession with the next episode. As I always say, my renegades, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit that notification button so when you know I'm on and doing videos. And I'll speak to you all again soon. Peace out.